How's it going, everybody? I'm Drifty from Driftwood Gaming, and we're going to be playing Astro Colony today on November 7th. This game just came out today. It's by Tarad Games, and we're going to be taking a look at the beginning of single player. So it does have mod support, and they're working on multiplayer right now. It is early access. I like the UI. It seems like there are a lot of different settings that you can change. It looks pretty good. So let's just start a new single player game. So let's generate a new one. Oxygen consumption, we'll leave it on. Enable bot, we'll leave it on. And then these are the default settings. I'm just going to leave them on the default settings and start game. Got a little intro here. Spaceship is flying through some kind of nebulous cloud where we can move around with the mouse.
Believing that one planet would be enough for us was wrong. Our colossal ambitions pushed us to leave our homes.
Okay.
Driven by the need of development and achievements, humanity seeks opportunities to discover new worlds and perhaps new dimensions.
Perhaps. Okay, so it looks like everyone's following the robot. I'm in some sort of auto run. The graphics are pretty good. I'm happy with these graphics. I have everything on high, mostly high. All right, what do we got here? I did this tutorial, but he just keeps going. Like the more you build, the more the tutorial starts going. Like I don't think you actually have to do everything he says, but let's just go with it for now. We'll do a little bit. He says, welcome, I've been programmed to guide you. Here's some advice. Left click him to go to next. WASD to move, space to jump. We'll go ahead and say next. Jetpack to press. If you press X, you have a jetpack, so you can kind of like fly around and press spacebar to go up, and I really like this. You can rebind all these if you want. Pressing G opens up the guidebook. Looking at the guidebook will give you more information about the game. I do like how they've kind of embedded some videos for you to look at, and it's got crafting systems. It's kind of like a mixture of Satisfactory and space. You can fly to different planets and get different types of metal from different planets. I didn't get that far. I only played about an hour. You can put thrusters on your ship to move it around. You can find planets that you can go to and mine, floating asteroids and whatnot. There's transport bots. I never really got this far, but you can set up like factory conveyor belts, and there's all kinds of stuff you can do. You can see here, it's got the conveyor belt set up and it's like splitting stuff. And then there's dangers. You can lose the game by being sucked into a black hole. Or being hit by an asteroid that's coming at you with crazy velocity and just explodes your whole setup. So there's lose conditions. I don't really know the win condition, but it's a kind of a sandboxy sim game where you go around, you mine asteroids, you collect resources, and you upgrade your little platform. So you have this little platform, raise the elevation by making vertical platforms and you can add flooring and more base tiles, and you can like stick a harpoon on the side and like harpoon another planet or like whatever is floating. Like I see something over here. There's a planetoid. It's got some copper deposits. Let's actually go look at it. If you'll notice in the bottom left corner, I've got an O2 meter, so that's my oxygen. And if I run out of oxygen, I will die. So there's that lose condition too. So here we are. We've got this little thing. If I press X, it turns off my jetpack, and there's gravity, even in space, I guess, according to this game. So if I press Q, I can cycle through having nothing in my hand, having this in my hand, or having a pickaxe in my hand. I don't know why it's not showing me the pickaxe. Maybe I have to go back and do the tutorial. Oh, I'm falling in space. I don't know why, but we're falling in space. I'll press X to turn my jetpack back on. Let's just go through the next step until he tells us to mine. Expand your space station. You will need to collect some basic resources. Look around the station and find floating asteroids. You need to extract iron and copper. So if I click on them, oh, there's my pickaxe. Now I can go to them and turn on my jetpack, and I can just mine them. And you can see every time I hit it, one of the yellow parts of the circle turns white, and when it goes all the way down, you extract what's in there. On the right-hand side, you can see what the asteroid consists of. Like for example, this one is just carbon, so I can extract carbon by mining it. It would have been cool to have like a laser or something I do like that you don't have to go around and manually pick up what flies out of an asteroid. It just kind of goes into your bag. I always hated chasing after resources that I was harvesting, so I do appreciate that. I know at some point we're going to need to get oxygen, and the tutorial will teach you that, but it's going to have you harvesting ice, so you're going to be spending a lot of time chopping ice off of these floating rocks. I am a fan of space mining type games in all forms. This one seems a little basic and rudimentary, and I can see how it can get repetitive really quickly, but there are options to minimize the amount of hitting things with a pickaxe you have to do. As you get a little bit farther in the tutorial, it asks you to build a asteroid miner / harvester thing, which is cool. So like you can have it pull in asteroids and it mines them for you, which is really useful, and it saves you a lot of time later on, so you don't have to keep hitting stuff with a pickaxe. Okay, so to expand the station, we're gonna need to collect some resources. Extract iron and copper. Apparently I didn't get one of those things, so let's figure out which one it is. Let's go get some copper here and iron. Looks like they're both here. So I need to get 2 copper. Looks like there is 2 here. You'll also notice that I'm getting a resource called basic science. And that's going to be useful when we open the tech tree, and I'll show you that in just a second. And the tech tree will allow you to upgrade different technologies and allow you to build new things. It's time to turn materials into something more sophisticated. So open your inventory with I, and then we're going to start hand crafting, I guess. Opening your inventory, you can see what you've mined. If you right click on it, you can get more details like what it's used by and what it can be used for and what it's produced with or produced by. And right clicking on them will show you that, and then hovering over them will give you more details. And you can even click on those things to like go further and to see what each one of those things need, what technology it needs, if that thing requires water to be pumped in, electricity to be given to it, and whatnot. So if we click on this recipe button right here, you'll see that we can select recipes. And we have got some iron ore and some copper ore. And if we toggle them on, you'll see that it creates like a crafting queue down here. And this is like manually using your suit to turn them into bars. So we're smelting the ore with our suit, and it's kind of a rough conversion. So it's 2 ore to 1 bar. Later on, we get to create buildings that will give us a better conversion rate on this. It seems like the tutorial will update as you do new things. Even if you're on this one, if you go off on your own and play and do and like collect stuff and start building stuff without the tutorial telling you to do it, the tutorial will just jump ahead and catch up with you again, which is pretty neat. I like that feature. You're not locked into doing everything exactly like the tutorial says. So we're gonna press T, the tech menu. It's a nice little UI, I really like it. If you hover over it, you get pop-ups that are all relevant to what it can do and what they have. I mean, if you look at, there's a lot of technologies, and it looks like it's pretty in-depth. So let's click on oxygen. And what we did was we used 2 of our research points. And what I'm going to do is click on this button up here. It says dock technology points to the main screen. And that puts them up here. So it'll let us know at all time how many technology points we have. This is our basic science, our engineering science, chemistry, biology, space, and high-tech science. We'll get into that in a minute. We do have 6 more basic science, so let's go ahead and spend some of them to get electricity. And you'll notice that after a while, you'll unlock a new technology, and the tutorial will just skip ahead because you're passing. So you don't really have to do it all. We're gonna do handcrafting wire because I know we're gonna need that. And it looks like we need a little bit more to unlock water. So I'm gonna just smash a rock, turn on my jetpack, and smash a few rocks, and that will get us basic science. And because I selected it, it spent the basic science to unlock that research immediately, which is kind of cool if you have like a longer one. See, we got some other stuff, and he skipped ahead because we unlocked the technology, so the tutorial just skipped ahead. You know what we're gonna do is just turn him off for right now, and we'll say, go to sleep bot. We'll just play and do it however we want to. If I press the F1 to F7 keys in the bottom left corner, you'll see that they switch through different crafting menus. You can also press the K button, and you can see a full list of everything that's craftable. Now, there is an option at the beginning of the game to just have everything available from the start, and you know, you might want to do that if you, like, once you play around in the tutorial and get a little bit farther and understand the very basics of the game. What we're gonna do is press F1, and then we're gonna press the buttons 1 through 8 to cycle through. In that category, what can we build? We definitely want to build an oxygen generator, but you can see that at the bottom, we only have 1 out of 2 of those bars. If I press and hold tab, I have the mouse. Like if I let go of it, I'm moving around with the mouse, but if I hold tab, it gives me like a free selection to hover over things to see what they do. And I can see down here that I'm missing copper bar. And I have 1, and I need 2 more. Or I need 1 more. So let's go ahead and just mine some copper real quick before we die. I think I have enough. If I press I for my inventory, you can see that it's automatically converting that copper into bars because we have them turned on to automatically do that. If I press R, I can rotate this around. And this is an oxygen generator that it's going to have an electricity and water pump outlets. So you want to have those accessible. Let's turn off my jetpack and we'll go onto the ground level. If you're tired of seeing it out here and you're like, how do I get rid of it? Just press Q and it'll swap your tool. So this is like highlighting the ground and you can change all of these tiles, which is really neat. Press Q again and it deselects everything. Going over to an object, if we press E, then we can interact with that object. If you want to interact with your inventory, you click on this little button here and it'll let you drag and drop things inside of it. So what I've done is taken ice out of my inventory and I put it into the oxygen generator. And you can see that we're almost out of oxygen down here, but I'm gonna use this ice, I'm gonna click this button, and it's gonna fill up my O2 tank. So I'm using ice and I'm extracting the oxygen out of it to get more oxygen here. It looks like we need to mine a little bit more ice, so I'll go over here. It wouldn't be a bad thing because we also need more research points. You're gonna be doing a lot of pickaxe mining. Like I said, I wish they would have given you a laser. A laser would have made more sense. I mean, it's the future, isn't it? Are we? But you know, it's a small gripe. It would be cool to see some sort of dynamic, like the platform has a bubble and asteroids slightly bounce off the bubble. But I mean, this works for now. It seems it's kind of a little immersion breaking though. Maybe in the future there's room for a little bubble shield and then the asteroids bounce off the bubble and you've got like a basic starter generator that generates like, 5 watts of power or something, and then that powers your little bubble shield, and maybe your main platform has some sort of durability that if an asteroid hits it without the bubble shield on, it takes damage, and then you create a new lose condition. All right, I'm not here to design the game. I'm just going to play it. So what I need to do is create wires. So I'm going to press I, and we're going to turn on copper wire hand. And we already researched the tech. If it doesn't work for you, then make sure you press T and then go into the technologies and research it. And if you don't have the points, you can just go mining and you'll get basic science points. So we're creating wire here. It looks like we have 6. This is going to create 9, and then I'll turn it off. And then that way I'll have enough. If I press 3, hold on, asteroid. Get out of the way, asteroid. It's kind of odd that they get this close to the platform, but why wouldn't they? Right? Like if you're just free floating out in space, why wouldn't they? All right, I'm gonna press 3, and this is a cool little system. You can click and then you can drag and go across like that. So I need to make more, of course. It's gonna be the name of the game, crafting more resources, going to mine a lot, getting a lot of resources. At some point you get better conversion rates when you have different things. All right, let's turn that off. That should be enough to connect this, boom. And now this reactor is connected to this thing. And that's how you set that up. Make an icebreaker. Okay, so if I press 8, I have the icebreaker, and I can place the icebreaker down somewhere. And what I'll do now is I'll fast forward a little bit and load my other save that's basically done and gone throughout this process, and I've placed more buildings down. All right, so in this playthrough here, I've played about an hour. I've gone quite a bit farther in the tutorial. I made the icebreaker. Let's go ahead and go down and look at it. And the icebreaker here is connected to the power, and I had to make a secondary power thing, and I'll show off some of the buildings. These are water tiles, and they just store liquid. So the icebreaker, if I press E on it, you can see you can put ice on it, and once it's given power, it will produce water out of that ice. So then you can take that water and pump it into, see, it's a little weird how the asteroids kind of crash into your stuff, but nothing happens. The water pumps into this oxygen generator, And it still seems like I'm using ice to refill my O2. After pumping electricity and water into this thing, I thought it would give me oxygen. Maybe I'm just misunderstanding how it works, but that's fine. I think what the problem is, I don't have enough power still. You can see the lightning bolt symbol above them. I probably have way too many buildings and not enough power to fully power all of them, so I would need to make another carbon reactor. Or just supply carbon. Let's take a look at this thing. This is a really cool thing. It's an asteroid smasher, asteroid catcher, rather. And if you press F on it, you can left click on asteroids and they're brought into the asteroid catcher, and it starts mining them right away. It's mining them right now. So then you can left click another one, and it's bringing that in, and it basically holds it in a stasis. If you click another one though, it like lets it go, so you can only hold one in stasis at a time. But when it's done mining the asteroid that's inside, this one that's in stasis will go into the asteroid thing. So if I press Q to leave, you can see that it's still mining this asteroid, but it's gonna hold this one in stasis. And if you slightly tug on a lot of them, it pulls them toward it. And you can see they're being pulled toward it. So this one is going to, once this is done auto mining this one, it will pull the one that's in stasis in, or at least it should, and then start mining that one as well. So if I press E on this section here, you can see that when it finished that asteroid and loaded the next bigger one, it took the ore and put it into its own cargo hold, which I can then drag and drop into my personal inventory. And then I can move it over to this next building, which is the smelter. And if you put ore in the smelter, it converts it into bars, much like how your suit does it, except in a more, a better conversion rate, like it's 33% better. This tutorial guy just shows up constantly. If you tell him to go to sleep, he'll stop yapping at you. But whenever you like progress to the next thing, he'll show up again to tell you the next thing. This right here is the constructor. It's what you're gonna need to start expanding your base. You can see these 4 glass tiles. I created these using iron plates. I don't know how iron turns into glass, but it does. And there's a lot of different types of floors you can use. So if you press T, you can go through and learn new technologies. You can see how far I've gotten here. So these are the technologies I've researched so far in total. This is a cool thing here. This is a research laboratory, and it converts iron bars and copper bars into engineering science. And so you can see up in the top right, if you've enabled it, you can see what research you have. And then this is the thing that you've got selected and what you need for that. You can get basic science for doing lots of things, like just smashing on rocks will give you basic science. So it's pretty easy to get basic science. Engineering science and the other sciences, I imagine, are a little bit more difficult to get. You need to research things in the laboratory and unlock new buildings and whatnot. In this case, for the laboratory, you can use iron bars and copper bars to make the engineering science, which will be useful to unlock new technologies and whatnot. Here is a simple cargo crate, storage container. You can make as many of these as you like, and if you find that you're running out of space collecting too many things, well, you can just offload stuff into storage containers. If you don't have power, it's not going to mine anything. If you control and left click, it stops you from having to drag and drop. It'll just go into the other inventory. It becomes kind of monotonous to keep everything powered. That's my biggest complaint right now. I feel like the power, like 30 seconds for one carbon isn't enough. I feel like it needs to be several minutes. But once we've given power to those reactors, it powered our oxygen generator, which created an oxygen barrier. So I think we have an oxygen, well, it's trying to do it, right? We have this little thing up here, but we don't have any oxygen tanks. But you can look down and see that it's creating a circle, a sphere that creates a barrier that we should be able to breathe in if we had oxygen tanks. I'm gonna press K, And let's just scroll down and see some of the stuff that we can build. Multi-siding, siding, devices, services, utilities, probably in here. Icebreaker, water cell, water pipe. These are reactors and energy generations. I imagine the carbon reactor is going to be the very beginning, and you have to keep filling carbon, and it gets really annoying to do. At some point, you're just going to make solar panels and then nuclear reactors and electric batteries and all this other stuff. And the energy is probably not going to be as big of a deal as it is in the beginning to keep filling it with essentially your coal powering your space plant. And you can see how that would be hard to sustain. The goal is to just upgrade your technology over time, and these things will become easier over time. So here's the Asteroid Catcher, but I just noticed that there's an auto Asteroid Catcher, and that would be very useful to have. We need iron bars and iron plates. And then there's also the drill that we could make and put on a flat surface to extract ore from that surface, from the planetoids. But there's a whole lot more to see with this game. This is just kind of like a brief introduction to the game, what it's like. There's a lot more depth and a lot of stuff that I haven't even got to yet. I look forward to playing more and seeing that technology and see what I can actually do and how I can extend these bases and maybe see some of the game-ending asteroids or black holes or all the other stuff it has to offer. I know that there's another thing that like lets you harpoon your base to a planetoid and like set up another rocky base on it, which seems really cool. There's a lot more to see, but I'm gonna keep it short and end this video here. Thank you so much for watching me play Astro Colony. This is by Tirad Games and it was released November 7th, 2022. Thank you so much for watching. Thumbs up this video if you did like it. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see more videos like this or if you have any feedback. I appreciate it very much. Come hang out with us on the Discord. That's where we're just chilling, and links in the description below. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate that. Love you guys very much. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.